right now, and I'll take just a few minutes to explain how this kind of got started, and she'll join us and we'll take some questions from the audience before we begin. About 2 years ago in our home in Camarillo, California, one evening there was a lot of energy in the house, to the point that it was frightening to go in some rooms where it would be obviously warm, another room would be obviously cool. And it was unlike the nature of the house, like the room that had the heat ducts and the heat was on, that room was cool. Another room that didn't have any heat exchanges, that one was warm. It was frightening for me. I had never experienced that before. There was one point when Azena and I were chit-chatting in the living room, and she asked me to get her a soda from the kitchen. And it really took me aback that she had asked me to do that at this point in our relationship. She'd never asked me to do anything. And I found out later the reason that she asked me to get her the soda was she was afraid to go in the kitchen because she was aware of a concentration of energy there and didn't know exactly how to deal with it. At any rate, after a while, she had to get up and go and use the restroom. And on the way, she passed our dining area and stopped and started staring in the direction of a plant that was in the corner. I noticed her there after a few moments, and I hollered out to her, "Are you all right?" And she didn't respond to me. I went over and stood right next to her and asked her again if she was all right, if she needed help. She didn't blink, she didn't turn to me, nothing. Just continued to stare in the corner. And a moment or two later, she collapsed. Now our dining area is one step down from the hallway where she was standing. She didn't put her arms out in front of her or anything. She just went down, face into the carpet. After a few moments, she started breathing deeply, and she got up off the floor with vigor, like when a 8 or 9 year old falls, they kind of bounce right back up again. She got up off the floor with that kind of vigor. I was greeted, and the voice was different than Azena's voice. I asked who I was talking to, and the energy identified itself. He said, "I know him as Yahshua ben Joseph," which is another name for Jesus. He spoke about 5 very brief sentences to me. They were all very personal in nature concerning my own growth. I remember a few of them. One was to love everyone with the same equality that I do flowers. To love my body temple. And he had said something about judging. Oh, hi, sweetie. Come on. You got the microphone on? Okay, come on. That's my wife, Azena. I'm just telling them how it all began. So, now he had said a few other sentences to me, but I don't remember what they were. I've been told several times by Saint Germain what those others were, and I keep forgetting. He said those are areas that I'm still working on, and the reason I forget is because I don't want to deal with that particular aspect of my life yet. We had walked the length of our dining room table, and I remember I had glanced up to kind of pay attention to where we were going, because in a few more steps we would have walked into our refrigerator. And I looked up, and then I looked back at him, and he had left the body, and she was kind of on an angle like this, falling back down to the floor again. When she woke up, she had no idea what had happened. She had no idea how she got to where she woke up. The last thing she remembered was standing about 8 feet away. I told her, she didn't believe it. For about the next hour and a half, I kind of talked her into doing this again. This time I got a tape recorder out. I asked her to be seated so she wouldn't obviously fall out again. Well, why don't you tell what you did then at that point?
Well, he told me to kind of see what we could do to make it happen again or whatever, just to kind of relax and see if we could let it happen again. And so I didn't know what to do. I mean, I'd never done anything like that before. So I sat down on the couch and I did the only thing I knew how to do, which was a spiral meditation, which I learned at a meditation seminar that I had gone to. But that's the only thing I'd ever been to. And so since it was the only thing I knew how to do, I just sat down and I thought, okay, well, let's see if this works. A couple hours later, I came back and I said, does anything happen? And he said, before I answer that, I want you to listen to this. And it was a recording. And I listened to it, and I just couldn't believe it. And I was crying, and I was shaking, and I was really like major league blown away. And I didn't know what to do with it or what to make of it or anything. And so he said that the identity identified himself as Saint Germain. He said, "Have you ever heard that name before?" And I said, "No, I hadn't the foggiest idea who it might be or anything." So we got out our little books and looked in the indexes to see if we could figure out who it was, and we called some friends, and we just were totally excited when we started finding out what the energy was all about. And I became more and more comfortable with it because it's a very, very loving energy. And so whenever I was a little bit afraid in the beginning, I kept being reassured each time, and now it's just, really wonderful. The energy, I know that I'm taken care of while I'm gone. And he said that he's going to be shifting out of Saint Germain. That you want to explain that because he told you, and
Well, he told me that the name Saint Germain, although he was that, he said he gave us that name initially for us to have a focal point. That was in fact one of his incarnations, but it doesn't portray the totality of what he is. That Saint Germain would be like one frame of a reel of film. That was one of his incarnations. He's had many. Among them were Francis Bacon, Christopher Columbus, Joseph. Let me see, who else? Samuel the prophet. Merlin. Goodness, a whole bunch of them. He said that he's in the process of releasing Saint Germain, and he will be known as I Am. It's interesting that he's picked this particular time. We've got about 50 tapes right now in a catalog that all say Saint Germain through Azena Ramanda, and now he doesn't want to be called Saint Germain anymore, so we're not exactly sure how we're going to go about doing this. He just told us this about 3 or 4 weeks ago, that he was going to be letting loose of the name Saint Germain. So stay tuned and we'll let you know how that progresses. We went public with this about a year ago. It was a year in February. The company, I had a corporate job, and the company I was working for had transferred me from California up to the state of Washington to relieve someone for 4 weeks vacation. And while we were up there, we stopped in one Sunday at a Unity church, and after the service told the minister, what's going on. And he kind of got us down to the basement of the church real quick after we said goodbye to the few people that were remaining. Asked us to bring forward Germain for a little while. We did for about 10 minutes. Kind of blew him away, and he asked if we would come back next Sunday and bring him forward for the congregation, and we did. He took out an ad in the paper at their own expense. And the next Sunday we had, about 60 people at church.
And I thought, actually, just beforehand, I haven't told this before, so just hang in there. Beforehand, I was downstairs in this little room, and a whole congregation was gathering up there, and I thought I was going to be sick. I was so scared to get up there and just say, "Hi, my name is," and this is how it all started. And because, I just really wasn't accustomed to that, and so everybody kept saying, "Well, it's going to be all right. All you have to do is get up there and say your name and everything, and then Saint Germain's going to take over from there, and it'll be fine. And when you get back, it'll be all over." So it's kind of like surgery. I leave for a while, and I come back, it's all over, and you might want to tell him what it's like when I get back,
Okay, well, I'll go through the whole procedure. When Azena leaves, she'll sit back in the chair and do a spiral meditation. When she does so, after a short while, her head will drop and her hands will become relaxed. Then there'll be some very deep breathing, and at this point I'll say he will then, so you know that there's a difference in the energy. Azena's energy will have left and Saint Germain's entered. He will abruptly move to the edge of the chair and put his hands in front of him, and then proceed to align the energies in the body. He'll open his eyes, greet you, and probably walk out here and talk for the rest of the evening. When he leaves, he'll come back to the chair, and at that point I'll come back out here, and I'll be standing kind of in front of her on the side of Azena, and I'll put my hands around her face so that when he leaves, I have to hold her and ease her back into the chair. Her body will become relaxed in whatever position he leaves in. If she were leaning forward, she would just fall out of the chair. So I come up here and just kind of ease her back. The first thing that'll happen is Azena, when she returns, she'll gasp for a breath of air, and then she's going to want to get out of that chair because there's a concentration of energy. She'll immediately get onto the floor and perhaps remain there for about 2 minutes. She's told me that it's kind of like being on a merry-go-round, and when you first get off of it, sometimes you still have that sensation of movement. She experiences that every time. In addition, when we have a large audience, well, whenever we have an audience, but when there's a large one, it's a bit more dramatic for her. Germain mirrors energy to everyone in his audience, and not only to the individuals present, but to the other dimensional selves of everyone. Everyone here is other dimensional beings, and he mirrors energy to all of them. I'm not real clear on this because I don't fully understand it myself. He controls this energy when he's in the body. When he leaves, this mirroring is still going on. Your energy is all focused on Azena at this point, and she feels that energy, and it's like walking into a brick wall for her, and it's very disorienting. This lasts, again, for about 2 minutes. It sometimes appears to people that she's in pain and a great deal of discomfort. She is in no pain at all. It's just disorienting for her.
And it feels like an electrical shock when I get back in my body too, so, but it doesn't hurt. It just feels real different.
Now occasionally she's come back with a bit of nausea, but again, she's not in any pain at all. After about 2 minutes, she'll kind of look up and greet you, and depending upon how she feels, we may take some questions after this is all over again. We once had an audience, and when Germain said goodbye, and Azena's body then became relaxed, everyone thought it was all over and got up and started talking and leaving and whatnot. It's not over when Germain says goodbye. It's over with when Azena says goodnight, when she's back. When we have these kind of questions and answer nights like this is, Germain will ask for query from the audience. This means he's asking for questions. Please feel free to ask anything that's on your mind. We once had a session that only lasted 20 minutes because no one asked any questions at all. He spoke for about 20 minutes, asked, no one had anything to say, so he left. So a lot of this evening depends on you asking questions. There are no questions that are not important enough to ask. There's no trivia kind of question, so please, if you want to ask anything at all, ask it.
Speaking of questions, before I leave, does anybody have any questions?
When you go, are you actually aware of where you're going? No.
No, it's like whenever you go to sleep at night and wake up the next morning, you don't have any perception of all the stuff that happened in between. It's the same way for me. I've remembered a couple of times, just little tiny glimpses of things that don't really make a lot of sense. But I have no really conscious memory of it, and I don't remember what's going on here either. So it's like a void of time for me.
We would like to take a moment and let you know we'll be up in the audience with cordless microphones. I'll be up this aisle here, and we've got some other people that will be up the other aisles. So when you have a question, identify yourself to Germain. He'll point to you or something. You'll know that he wants to take your question. Although he wants your question, give us just a moment to get someone over to you that has a microphone so that everyone in the room can hear your question. Okay? Yes?
When you're out of your body and you're coming back, does it feel cold or warm?
Hot, usually.
So, I don't know. What's your feeling?
Yeah, we seem to be missing one of our microphones.
Would you mind explaining spiral meditation?
It's explained in a lot of detail in the book called Joy's Way, written by Dr. Brew Joy. And what it is you start at your heart center and go in a spiral fashion this direction, all the way around, opening all your seals, all your chakras, including like your shoulders and that kind of thing. All the ones. And it's gotten to the point now where it only takes a couple of seconds for me to get the connection, and then I can move to the next one, and the next one, and the next one. It used to be, it'd take me a half hour just to get to that point where they were all open, and now I can do it in just like 2 or 3 minutes. But it's because I keep a sense of what it feels like. I mean, it's just getting used to it and stuff. It's not necessary, but I usually start out putting my hand over my third eye here so I can visualize. Well, I don't really visualize it. I sense it a little bit easier and quicker. It's not totally necessary, but I do it just because it makes it quicker. Okay? Thanks.
Does Saint Germain call you and let you know when he wants to talk, or do you call him? How does it work?
Actually, whenever when I meditate, I don't raise my kundalini. When I let him come through, I raise my kundalini. That's the difference. And he says that he's always accessible to everyone that is, a like vibration that wants to attune to him or whatever, and let him come in or whatever. So, it's up to us to allow his energy to come in, and he would never force it on anyone. Occasionally, very, very occasionally, I'll get a sense, just like, you know how you get intuitions and stuff, that maybe I should let him come in. Maybe he's got something to tell us. But he never, knocks me over or anything like that. You know what I mean? Okay. Did that answer the question? Okay.
What's the difference between full body manifestation and the normal channeling that we read about?
Okay, channeling, generally speaking, from what I understand, and believe me, I'm no authority on the subject, I just know what it is that I experience here. And so, but from my understanding, channeling is where there's a certain amount of blending of consciousness of a person and another energy, and depending on how clear that person is or how much they're aligned to a particular frequency is how much of the other energy comes in. So it's kind of like a pooling of energies, and they're stirred together and it comes out. In this case, my energy, all of it, completely splits. I mean, it goes bye-bye. And Saint Germain's completely capacitates, so there's no pooling of energy at all. It's his alone. And that's why I have to catch up on everything that happened afterwards. I don't have any memory.
I don't know how to formulate this. How can I, for instance, if I wished, let Germain come through?
I have the foggiest idea.
Well, how?
That would be something you would need to ask him.
Right, I would like to ask him. Is there a possibility of doing that somehow?
Oh, sure. Well, this tonight is only questions and answers.
Right.
So you're going to get to ask anything you want to.
Okay, thanks.
Any more? Yeah.
Who is or was Saint Germain, and when and where did he live?
Well, Saint Germain
It's
was...
not really Saint Germain, but anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
He was a count of Saint Germain. It was a body of land in France in the 1700s, I believe. And it wasn't the name he had at that particular time. It was the title given to him and the lands of the Count of Saint Germain.
And then he was the Ascended Master.
Yes, he did ascend in that incarnation and the previous one, which was...
Francis Bacon.
Yeah, Francis Bacon.
Right.
And he said that in actuality, there's more to the mystique of that incarnation as Saint Germain than people are aware, because he had already ascended in a previous incarnation. There were other aspects of his energy simultaneously present when he was the Count of Saint Germain in the 1700s. That particular incarnation is documented in history books around the world, that he lived for several hundred years. People met him when they were 30, he was 30 by appearances, And then when they were 70, they'd bump into him again, and he still looked 30. And it's documented by nobility, by everybody, a whole cross-section of people from the 1800s. Does that answer your question?
Anybody else? Yeah.
Yes, I'd like to know, why did he choose your body to come through?
He said that he chose me, or actually it was a mutual choice. I chose him and he chose me because I was aligned to his frequency. I was an identical frequency that he could come through, and all the previous stuff in my life, I had prepared myself for this. I didn't know it at the time, but it was like a mutually agreed thing, so that when it came time, that's what happened. Okay. There was somebody over here that had a question. Oh, hot diggity dog. Okay.
I wanted to ask why Saint Germain doesn't get own identity. Why does he choose you? Why doesn't? Why is not born his own body?
I think you could answer that one.
He said that if he were to put on a body right now, he'd be worshipped. It would be very obvious that he was beyond third density. And he said that's not to be. Once we move into super consciousness, move into fourth density, then he's going to put on a sixth density body. But he said right now he would just be, people would be in awe of him, and that would prevent people from realizing their own divinity. So that, he said that won't happen until after super consciousness.
There's so many up there.
I had a question too, actually. That was quite close to it, but I had another question. I'm having a bit of a trouble perceiving what's going on here. How does he know this is only a question and answer session?
Because all we ever know about these things is the title. He runs the whole, we've done these before, and he speaks for about 20 minutes and takes questions all the rest of the night. So we just know from past experience how they've been going.
And he'd give us a title, and everybody would be wondering, what is that going to be about? What, and it's really interesting, intriguing for a whole however long we know in advance. And then by the time the event gets here, sometimes it's really a surprise what it's going to be about, because it's something that we didn't think of before. Like, I don't want to say it. You know which one I'm talking about?
No, which
the one I don't like to say the title of.
Oh, goodness. We had one in Los Angeles called...
I'll say it. It was called Orgasm, Ecstatic Explosion. And whenever somebody said, what's the title for next week, I'd say, ask my husband. and so what it was about, though, it just surprised me. I mean, it was really wonderful. And so anyway, he's the one that kind of knows what's going to be going on, and we just kind of help put it together, basically.
Could you talk about how Adelaide came to be on your agenda?
Actually, you need to ask David. I haven't the foggiest idea.
What happened is about a year ago at our home in Camarillo, California, we were doing personals one day. Personals is half an hour time slots, privates with St. Germain. And Mr. David Ward, who lives in an area near Melbourne, was having a personal. He came out all excited and asked me what I thought about coming to Australia. At this point, I think my mouth kind of dropped open and said, that was the first I really heard about it. In between the next two personals, I ran in by Germain and asked him, what's this about going to Australia? And would this be the person we should go with? And he said that the choice was Azena's and mine, that it would be harmonious, that he would enjoy doing that. So I came out and told him, okay. We were initially going to be here back in November, and we postponed the trip 3 or 4 times, coming here, just getting our act together back home. And David totally picked the cities. We have 7 or 8 cities. This is
Nine,
our
actually.
4th stop. Yeah, this is our 4th city. And he picked it. Maybe Germain did.
And I'm not sure why
No, I love
Adelaide
it here.
popped up, you know, and what were the circumstances that brought Adelaide to
Maybe
be on
maybe
it.
because I'm having such a good time.
Adelaide is really neat. Yeah.
You said your previous life prepared you for this. Can you tell us how? Is that
Oh,
too
brother.
personal?
Well, I don't know. Okay. I had some real interesting experiences in release and learning how to, what would you call it?
You want me to tell him?
Yeah, I feel real
What happened
uncomfortable.
is Azena had several children that are no longer on this plane. She had a pair of twins that made their transition about a week and a half apart.
Well,
and then-
I'll go ahead and tell. If you want me to.
Whatever, dear.
Okay. I had 6 children. I have 2 now. My 3-year-old sons were killed a week and a half apart, and my husband died the next month. And then in my second marriage, I had 2 daughters that died, one at 15 days and one at a year and a half. And the year-and-a-half-old daughter was handicapped her whole life. And that was caused by me being hit by a car. And the hood ornament pierced my organs, and there was like major league. Well, let's just put it this way. They had me on life support systems, and I was in a quote-unquote irreversible coma. And they had prepared for my funeral, and everybody was gathered around my bed, and I was, they had even chosen the casket and everything. And so when I came out of the coma, the doctor was kind of shaken up. And he came in there and he says, well, it's amazing that you come out of that coma, but I have to tell you, you're never going to walk again, because the nerves were severed from my knees down. And so, and at the time I was 7.5 months pregnant too. So in a couple of weeks I had the baby. I did learn how to walk again, and I learned a lot from her. Her name was Desiree, and I learned how to see beyond the surface. I saw her little bitty essence and that little bitty body that wasn't cooperating with her, and I learned how to communicate in a way that I didn't know before, I don't think. And actually that's what set me on the path, because I was looking for alternative methods of healing her, because she was beyond the doctor. This help. And so I was going to try and learn how to move body energy around so that I could heal her, or help to heal her. I mean, that was just the mother instinct in me that wanted to do this. So that set me on the path to learn how to move the body energies around, which is now what I do when St. Germain comes in. I move the Kundalini up. So, and now I kind of see how all the pieces of the puzzle fit together. I mean, that wasn't all of it, but that's enough for now. And if it hadn't been for each one of those little pieces of the puzzle, then this wouldn't be happening.
Germain told me that she required these demonstrations of release, losing the children, because in essence she does that with her body. When she leaves and Germain enters, she surrenders her body. And he said that had she not gone through the experience of losing these children, she probably wouldn't be able to bring him forward, because she wouldn't have embraced release, total release.
Thank you, sweetie. Thank you. And it makes me uncomfortable, because then people start looking at me like a weirdo or something. And I'm just like anybody else, So I don't like to differentiate myself from other people. Okay. Any more?
Well, we probably should.
We've got a couple more. I like to talk. This is the only time I get to talk.
I've read and heard about St. Germain's,
philosophy, and I just wondered, well, I've heard his message. What is his mission?
Why don't you
Why
ask
has he
him that?
come? And how many people, and who does he want to contact?
I think that would be an excellent question to ask
for
him.
yeah.
The amethyst.
I can't hear you.
Your crystal, the amethyst. Do you have anything programmed in there, or is it any?
Oh, it's just something pretty we towed around
No, we
with us.
just like it. We found it in L.A. and I'm just fond of it, so I kind of drag it around with us.
Yeah, it's no big special mystical anything. It's just pretty.
Well, I think if there aren't any other questions, we got
Hey,
one
there
more
is
over here,
one.
and then we'll.
I want everybody to get to answer questions here.
May I just say before you go off, you don't know what's going on. May I, on behalf of everybody here, say thank you so much for allowing your body to be essentially to come through. Bless you.
Well, thank you. Our life, because ever since this has started, our life has been like a roller coaster. It really has. We have our highs and we have our lows, and when we have our highs, they're real high, and when we have our lows, they're real low. It seems anyway. And so I just want you to know that we are really honored to be able to share this with you. It's our heart's desire to be here and do this, and we just have it. We just want to share it with everybody that's ready and that wants to share it with us. And so it's our privilege to be here, and we appreciate it.
Well, he did tell us that it's very likely the next time we come here, there'll be no charge. We're in the process. I had a corporate job. Let me just take a minute.
Okay.
I had a corporate job for almost 24 years. And about 7 months ago, I released that job and kind of got involved in this full-time. And it was about a month and a half after that, Germain told us no more events. And that was our only source of income, was to have similar kind of events. And that was real interesting. We went about 4.5 months and had no income. I spent several days in bed with the covers over my head, feeling sorry for myself. And
Well, you got to understand, this is 28, how many?
24 years.
24 years that he'd been working for this company since he was a sophomore in high school. And then all of a sudden, he tells them, I quit and I'm going to go into this adventure that doesn't have any appearance of anything coming in. It's total, and so that was a real brave thing for him to do.
Anyway, Germain wanted us to have a business. He assisted us in selecting the name called Reflections of Divinity. He wanted us to have a business identity to market and bring forth video and audio tapes. He said that once we establish this network of the tapes, that it will no longer be necessary to charge because there'll be enough income from the tapes. And whatever events we have, wherever they are, there'll be no charge. But we just haven't quite gotten there yet. We still have the rent and a big stack of bills. Germain said that it's likely we'll be here in 1 year. And at that point, we'll probably have enough of a network to get the catalogs out. And because we've really been struggling, how do I phrase this without limitation? We're kind of doing the same thing most everyone else and learning our lessons. And part of that was learning that we can survive without any income. And I put up a great deal of resistance to that, understanding that people would come forth out of love to help us rather than having to pay to have things done was a grand lesson for me. I'm still kind of learning that one about exchange through love rather than through currency. And that was a big lesson for me to learn. Anyway, so when we come back next year, it's very likely that there'll be no charge. So anyway, I just wanted to throw that out. If there aren't any other questions, we'll...
There's one over here.
Okay.
What is meant by the term ascended master, please?
Good question. Germain, his energy is, or was, initially when he started coming forth, 7th level, 7th density. In this realm is what people refer to as ascension. What most of us are 3rd density here. He initially, when he came forth, I say initially because he's now 8th density, Seventh and above is referred to as ascension. He's an ascended master, an ascended person. Am I answering that accurately?
Well, yeah, I was just going to say that, whenever many of the masters left the earth, they went poof, and so that's kind of what that means. They kind of don't leave their body behind either.
So does that help you? Okay. Now I said initially he was 7th level, 7th density. He just told me this last week that he's now 8th, and he's transitional 13th. And I'm not real sure what all that is. So. No, it goes way beyond. There's numbers. You can ask him if I understand. There's no limit to how far the numbers go. Your consciousness can become a planet, a whole solar system. It just keeps going. Much more than just us right here. I'm not really sure how to explain that to you because I'm learning that one too.
So what you're saying is even though the entity or the consciousness goes on in different dimensions, there's no more need to incarnate on Earth.
I'm not sure I heard the last little...
There's no more need to incarnate on Earth.
Germain doesn't have to, no. He doesn't have to at all. Does that... Yes, ma'am. Okay.
I kind of think it's time for me to say bye. Okay. Yeah, I think so. Bye, everybody. See y'all later, I guess.
Greetings, my beloved. Indeed, it is wondrous to be in your presence. That which is the brilliance of you is likened unto the galaxy, that which you call your velvety sky, the firmament thereof. And as you glisten and glimmer, twinkle in the twilight of your knowingness, you shall understand God. You shall understand the reflection of that which be you. Indeed, you are divine illuminations in the essence you call life. That which is the tapestry of your life, that which you create as your circumstance, your household, your business houses, your relationships, and that which you would call that experience that you manifest from which you garner your wisdom. It is all divine, awesome in its wonderment, in its power to allow you to understand the Christus within you. All that is required, my beloveds, is for you to gaze upon it in the honor and indeed awesome wonderment that it brings its gift to you, for you to embrace and love and allow integration so that you may release this experience into the all that is, to go forth in knowing, allowing the whisper of the wisdoms of the ages to come forth and tickle your heart, and allow gentleness to caress it, and how you caress your brethren, and allow indeed your brethren to come unto your light, to allow their reflection of their light, their majesty, so that you may empower them through your example, through your divine embodiment of the energy of God. Indeed, this is a grand adventure you call this earth plane, and it is in the throes of birthing a new life, a new awakening, a new awareness called superconsciousness. And you indeed are at the birthing table, about to prepare this experience, this event, this point of celebration And you are not only at the birthing table, you are that which is being birthed. And in this birthing, you will begin to understand multidimensionality, that there is no time. Time is an illusion. You create it. And you know when you feel accelerated in your life and things feel as though they're... Have any idea why? Because you're living in your now, therefore you create less time. For time is a creation of concentration of your future, projection of your divine thought energy into future. It is that which is the coagulation of the electrons within your atmosphere to allow the presence of time. It too is a manifestation that has substance. It too is like an ocean that you swim through in your life. Liquid thought. That is what time is. Now, this that you call your experience of coagulated communion, collective consciousness, divine fellowship one unto the other, the allowance of brotherhood in that which is recognition and honor of one another's brilliance. Do you know what it is? Do you know indeed that it is unity, understanding diversity, diversity honoring and embracing unity? It is at-one-ment, atonement. It is understanding G-O-D, God, generator of dimensions. That is you. That which you call your physical instrument, eh? It is a model that you chose to cloak your energy upon. It is indeed that which you send forth from one place into another and occasionally show up with it. And that which you call your physical instrument is on a joyride through life. And you do not always perceive the joy, the delight of divinity within the moment you call now. And that is why you are here. You so yearn to know, to understand, to experience this lightheartedness of life, the bounce to the ounce. And that which you would consider this reflection is a grand divine mirror for you to see that which is you. To understand the awesome power that abides within your very breath, within the atoms of your embodiment. They too are God. They too are consciousness. Your embodiment is a collective consciousness on its own, a microcosm within a macrocosm. And as you align each one of them into the resonance of the ley line, that which is the resonance of all of you that are connected by the frequency called God, all of you will come into harmony, integration. The synchronicity, synchronization is what you call the birth of superconsciousness. When that which is this entire earth is surrounded by a golden aura, indeed, it becomes a sun. The Son of God, to be sure, it is becoming a light body itself, and you are the cells upon its body. As you think, so it is, so you are, so all that this universe is. For you too participate in the universe. You too are part of the galactic consciousness, for it is evolving and expanding also. And as you expand and allow the panoramic panacea of that which is your vision to unfold before you, that which is your limited life will come into perspective. And that which is your broken fingernail will not seem so serious anymore. That which is the grand harmonizer of life, you know what it is? It is humor, the tonic for the harmonics, the lightening of the tightening, the elixir that is the all-fixer. Indeed, when you're giggling with God and chuckling with Christus, you're not angry in awareness. When you have the bouncing of the belly, you do not have the congestion of the gut anymore. So all of you begin to become divine comedians looking for material. Well, in every circumstance that brings you utter frustration, look within it and see what is funny there. Likened unto a child, you may go forth and experience it as a game. And as your brother that you would consider enemy comes unto you, gaze unto him, as though you were playing hide and seek, as you call it, and state unto him, I know there is God in there somewhere. Come out wherever you are. Come out and play with me. There was an entity at one time, and that's what you call my past, as you would consider time to be, that stated unto me, love your enemies. And I gazed into my mirror and loved myself. Indeed, that which is judgment upon your plane will come to be embraced, not severed, not separated, for that is separating yourself from yourself. Judgment is an aspect of humanity, of altered ego, which is also part of you, else you would not be physical. So bless it and honor it and embrace it and transmute it into God. This is not the posture, a soaring, a flight. This is embracing in utter vulnerability, which is utter power. Did you know this? That which is severance and separation, relinquishing, that is a limitation. That is a separation, a division of divinity. That which is embracing, that which you judge, frustrating circumstances, will allow you to understand this reflection that is you. Whatever is the frustrating circumstance is reflecting to you an aspect of yourself. And as you identify it, you resonate it unto it, or you would not have the identification. That is what allows you to identify it, to understand it at all. It is because you have something within you that resonates to it. It is likened unto a tuning fork. And without one of them, there would not be a resonance. You see? So you are indeed likened unto being in a grand fun house, and you go forth and there are mirrors everywhere about you. And there are many different shapes and sizes and reflections, but they are all you. Judge them as you will, they are all you. And allow yourself to laugh heartily, to embrace all the reflections, and you will indeed be honoring you. You will be honoring the divinity that abides of you, not only within you, of you. That is the essence of you. That is coagulated love. That is what you call yourself. Now, that which you call the dimension of time, that which you call your past and your future and your alternate nows and all the alternate pasts and futures are all now. That is an unlimited thought, eh? Burn your circuits on that one, I know. But you know, there is only today. When tomorrow gets here, it will be today. There is only now. The only experiential understanding of life is called now. It is a drop that contains an instant and an eternity at one time. And you'll begin to understand that you're everywhere and every win and nowhere and no win at the same time. Now, both polarities exist simultaneously. That which you would consider to be slay all, persecute all, exists in the same moment of your life experience as persecute e, slay e. That which is called karma, it is an illusion of limitation. Because indeed, if simultaneity is understood and you transcend the dimension of space and time, which came first? They are both coexistent. Both polarities must exist at the same time to complete the wholeness of God. And when you are aware of it, you will understand non-judgment of the slay all and the persecute all. For you will understand in other dimensions you're the same thing. You indeed are experiencing the wholeness, the entire complement, the spectrumized version of life and all the emotions, so that you indeed may garner them unto you, embrace them with the dripping pan of your heart, and allow indeed the wholeness of it to be brought into the all that is, to be released from you into the heavens above, that which you call the all that is. And it is not only above, it is everywhere, it is omnipresent. And you will allow yourself to understand this of your brethren as well. That which you would consider an imbecile is a wise one in another dimension. So your judgments have a whole different flavor now. Stir them grandly into the broth of your being. Savor it. Allow their fragrance, their essence, to be indeed inhabited enhancing of your broth. Indeed, you may become a grand consommé of Christus. A gourmet of God, is that what you call it? And there are those of you that so frustrate yourselves about your currency. Oh, but what will be my support? What indeed will be my tomorrow? What will be indeed what you call career? God does not have a career. God abides in each moment, constantly supported. That was what is given forth as the parable of the lilies of the field. They fret not about their attire, for they are splendidly and gloriously caped in the raiment of that which is of God. The fragrance indeed issues forth out of them because of their joy in being and their understanding of their forever support. Now, if you know anything, it is. Anything. If you know you will have a sneezer when a breeze catches your attention, you shall. If you know indeed you are supported, you shall be. And it will surprise you how it comes into manifestation. It may come in manners that you hadn't even contemplated. And you know your currency is not required. It is a middleman. It is not your currency you want, it is what your currency will get you. And indeed, you will begin to understand releasing the middleman and having mutual exchange of energies, brother to brother, without the dependency factor of the currency. And you indeed will align yourselves unto the laborers of love, as you call it, allowing, assuaging, a compassion, and honoring one another. That is what you would call service, but it is really service to all that is, which is really being all that is. Now, in the frustration about your collapse of your financial system and that what you call your quakers and tremors and all of this ballyhoo that you rally to, it is indeed issued forth by every thought, by every breath, by every action that you give forth in every now moment. You are a prophet every moment of your life. Not only of this life, but of all of your lives. And as you think, so you experience. If you feel through fear that you will experience dire circumstance because of prophecy that is given forth, so you will experience. But if you know of your very being, the core of your essence, that you indeed will experience only delight, no matter what the circumstance, only support, no matter how it appears upon the surface, only love, then indeed you shall. For what you know, you shall create for yourself. That is what is being a manifesting God, and that is what all of you are. You are grand wizards of it, you know. You grandly manifest limitation for yourself. And you will become wizards of wit as well. For that which sharpens you and hones you is humor. Participating with laughter. Embracing your face with a line that is called a smile. Allowing the halo of happiness to be caped upon your breast. And perceiving the majesty within life. Not only that which is spiritual, as you call it, for everything is spiritual. Everything is divine. Not only your brothers, but even that which you would call the suffering, you will understand its divinity, for it brings wisdom to those who mutually co-create it, to experience it for their own wisdom, for their own enhancement of awareness. And you will begin to bless it. And in the blessing of it, you will be honoring it. And in the honoring of it, you will be sharing the flow of love unto it, which will begin to transmute it. That which is desired upon this earth plane, peace, harmony, alignment, love, brotherhood, all of this shall be known. And there will be a countenance of Antichristus and Christus that comes forth in that which you call the 12 days of light. And in this understanding, there will be the embracing of the Antichristus by the Christus to create the whole. The Antichristus is not to be severed or judged. It is to be honored because it too desires and yearns and aches forever for that which is love. But it does not know how to receive love. The only manner that it understands gathering of love unto itself is by controlling others. That is the only thing it knows. That is why Yeshua said unto that which was the all that is, forgive them, for they know not what they do. It is their consciousness. That is the only manner they know how to express. And you are here to reflect unto them by being the grand demonstrator how indeed to live through unconditional love. To be, so that they will understand through your reflection how to allow unconditional love to be stirred within their soul, and to be brought to the surface so they may taste it. Now, that which is allowing Antichristus is honoring limitation. The grandest unlimitedness is allowing limitation as a choice. Do you know when you go forth and desire to convert your brethren into your understanding, you're enslaving them if they desire not to be? Allow them, if they so desire, to know what they know, experience what they experience, believe what they believe, whatever. It is their life. You may share as a grand banquet for them to participate with if they desire, and be the grand exemplar. But that which is desired to yoke them to your understanding is another form of enslavement. You are not here to convert the world, you are here to be God, to be divine, to give forth unlimited love, to express as the divine exemplar. Now, there was an entity. I will tell you a bit of a story. You like those, eh? There was an entity who was a captain of a grand ship. And he had very puffed up ego, alter ego, about being the captain. And indeed there came a storm, a grand brew, a tempest as it were. And he was all frustrated, for he felt indeed that he was about to lose control of his grand craft. And there was a navigator upon the mast, and he said, "Captain, I see a light. Ahoy, there is a light." And indeed the captain issued forth command unto him to go forth and give unto the light the message. Go forth 20 degrees to your south. Indeed, take heading 20 degrees to your south. And the message came back. You take heading 20 degrees to the north. The captain was a bit filled, a bit around the edges about that one. And indeed issued forth another message. This is the captain of the ship. And the message that was returned, this is the seaman, sir. And so indeed, there was a reiteration of the order, 20 degrees to the north, sir. And he became infuriated. Who was this one to order him around? He was a captain. And so he indeed issued forth another message. This is a battleship. And the message that was returned was, this is a lighthouse. The lighthouse of you may stand so firm, no matter what trepidation comes unto you. The light of your love light, shine it forth grandly for all to see as a beacon of blessedness. And they will take notice when the storm is brewing upon their horizon, and they indeed will begin to understand the illumination, but not through fettering them, not through yoking them to your own understanding, but through being the lighthouse. Now, be the query. Indeed, beloved brother.
Can you please tell us what mind is?
That what you call mind is a grand experience likened unto your computer. It is a mechanized version of electromagnetics in order to facilitate the instrument you call your embodiment. It is indeed non-physical. Your brain is that which houses the mind. That which you call a mansion of your mind is also what houses the alter ego. that desires separation and labeling and picking apart so that you may understand it in your laboratory. It is blending, however, with the haven of your heart to create unity and integration. You see? Is this helpful, my beloved? Thank you, my beloved. Greetings. Is there any other way to be but wondrous? Indeed, my beloved.
Beloved Germain and beloved brother, can you explain to everybody, myself included, why man has got this perception of being separate from God when in fact we are as one?
You created the illusion of separation so that you may experience the dream called physicality. And it was a grand creative genius that allowed you to do this. You chose to forget so that you could experience the game of limitation. If you remembered, you would not be limited enough to experience physicality. You would not allow yourself to be that limited. So indeed, you continue the veil of forgetfulness so that you may continue to create your expanded awareness of what it is to capture emotions and to be indeed the essence of divided man, divided humanity, that which is called physicality. And you are now in the process of reuniting from evolution into involution, into the all that is, so that indeed you may begin to remember that you know. You see? Thank you, my beloved. There is never any learning or any teaching. There is only remembering that you know. Indeed, my beloved.
Would you please speak to us about healing and if we have, each one of us, abilities to heal?
Oh, but of course, my beloved, all of you are created whole. That which is your illusion of ill of health, diseasement, which is non-at-easement of your wholeness, of that which is the complements of you, the polarities of you, the male, female, positive, negative of you. And in your understanding of creation of this integration, this reuniting of the polarities in harmony, you will re-experience health, well-beingness, harmony. That which is the utter essence of healing is love energy. Did you know this? That which is the fabric of creation is love. It is a substance, really. It is not only a divine thought or philosophy, it is a substance out of which everything is created. Even that which you call it inanimate objects, it is a collective consciousness, else the atoms would not be held together. It too is created from the substance called love. And when indeed this love energy is not warring against itself, through division, denial, then indeed it will exhibit grandly and gloriously and indeed blossom into the blush of health and life, well-beingness to be sure. As you would desire to heal another, you cannot force healing upon another if they do not, of their own soul, essence, energy, desire it. They indeed may speak forth that they desire it, but the knowing of the heart that they desire it is another thing altogether. For many entities, ill of health serves them well. They have attention. They desire a crutch, for they are afraid of embracing their power after eons of soul memory. And indeed, there are many wisdoms that come forth from that which you would call non-aligned embodiment. So do not judge it, my beloveds, for in that which you call the eternality of all time, all entities are whole. They all come into wholeness in their own ripeness of time. In that which you call the illusion of time, all are already whole. And that which you would call the reception of love energy that you would desire for them to resonate with, that is of you, indeed they may, and become whole in that moment if they would choose to. But it is not that you give them your love. You indeed resonate divine sonics of love, and as they choose to, they resonate unto it like tuning fork. It is not really a flow, it is a resonance. And that is how it may occur throughout all dimensions. And that which you call space and distance, it does not matter. For it is not a going through distance. It does not travel. It is a resonance. Do you see? And that which is issued forth in this resonance by those entities that do not accept it, for whatever reasons that they choose, it is received by your flora, your greenery, that which you call your plantum. That is why it feels so healthy and so wondrous to have them around. They issue forth healing energy in that which you call the return flow constantly. The greenery and lushness of life exhibits that which is the fountain of forever health. And indeed, they issue forth always limitless love and allowance. And as you walk through that which is your nature, understand that you too are a garden of gods, each in your own resplendent array of fragrance and hue. And indeed, feel the brotherhood and harmony, unity with them. That is what they desire. And that is why indeed they come forth in grand flourishment upon the plain to allow assistance in this reflection unto you of your wholeness and health. Indeed, my beloved.
Could you explain a bit more how you are a mirror of us here tonight?
That which you perceive in anyone is merely another mirror reflection, projection of that which is you. That which is your outward circumstance is not really real. It is a projection from your consciousness. That which is your reality is always created each moment by you. And if you would perceive sequentiality or linearity, then it is the effect that you have created, that you create that effect in your now. Always you recreate each experience of each now completely and wholly as a universe in itself in each now. And as you create this, it is holographic, and everyone contains the wholeness of the all that is. Everyone. And as you come upon them and see within them whatever it is you see, it is a reflection of what you recognize within yourself, what you have embraced and become aware of that is you. Now, that which you call reflection is the understanding that you are all God viewed from different mirrors. Indeed, you are all different frequency gatherings or bundles of energy, but you contain the harmonics of all the rest of the frequencies. And so as one entity comes onto you, you may resonate to one of the harmonic frequencies and not the frequency they're exhibiting, but you still identify with a frequency that is contained within their holographic wholeness. That which be I is indeed resplendent in the rays, that which you call the spectrumized version of God, all the resonances as they are re-reflected back onto you. I am here to demonstrate what you are already, that you do not understand that you are. I understand your grandeur and your beauty and your magnificence, and I am here so that you may understand it. That which is I is not important. That which is you is. That which is I am. That which is you is I am. There is no difference. But what you call the label that you've given onto me is an identifier of separation. I desire unity. You are all I am, and therefore we are one. Therefore you are one. Does that understand? Indeed, my beloved.
Are we supposed to have sex for any other reason but having babies?
That which you call the polarity of merging physically is balancing the understanding of male-female within you. And that which you call the capacity of reproduction within the human embodiment, the physical instrument, is indeed what it was designed for, and that which you call the creation of the balance of polarities. But now you are coming into an entirely different era, where your bodies will be completely different. They will be light bodies, lighter. That is what enlightenment means. Every cell of your embodiment will be of light. It will have light all through it. Your water will glow. Your heavens will glow. Your plantum, everything will have golden light issuing forth from it and through it. And that which you call the physical merging of your instruments will have a completely different resonance and not be based in the lower seals or chakras, as you call them, because indeed it will be bringing forth its understanding from the heart seal. And that which is the physical merging will be already of a wholeness and completeness understood of female and a wholeness and completeness understood of male. And so when they're blending, it is four energies blending. The male-female of you and the male-female of he, in harmony. Now it is accorded in disharmony, for there is so much denial of one another's polarities. And that which is the disharmony is beginning to express itself in that which you call the grand deceasement upon your plane. You call it AIDS. And as this comes forth through that which is the torrential understanding of chaos and diversity into harmony, that which is merging physically will have an entirely different energy about it. That which is soulmate also is understood in what you call your superconsciousness, and you call your other energy bodies unto you, male, female, physical and non-physical, and whatever exhibited age they are encased within in that now moment. It may be sibling, your smaller ones, and it may be one that is heavy in that which you call age. It does not matter. They are all part of your own souls. And as they all come forth, you will be merging with them all. And that which you would call, monogamy, it will have a different meaning as well. For you will not be limited, for they are all you. And you will begin to understand how everyone is you, and not that which is separate of you, divided of you. You will not be divided man anymore. You will be unified God-man. Do you understand? And that which is your eras of soul memory, of what you have termed sexuality, will begin to be embraced, and you will not have the fear and trepidation that you have about it now. Womankind has for eons been perpetrated against, if you would term it to be that. And she is now balancing her polarity from the solar plexus, which is the seal of power. And man is embracing the unlimited love, which is the heart seal, the feminine aspect, that be he. And the two together are beginning to come into complement of one another. And so indeed, what you call sexuality is not to be understood as it is now in what you call superconsciousness. Now, that which you call male, female, positive, negative, both are required, for without positive, negative, you would not have the light. You see, without them both. So they are both divine, understood, and honored for their exhibition as they choose to express that which you call gender. And that which is superconsciousness will begin to become androgynous as well. That which you call feminine will become more what you call masculine. And that which you call masculine will become more feminine as you become a balanced, homogeneous energy. Is this helpful, my beloved? Thank you.
What about the subject of homosexuality? I'm interested in the subject of homosexuality. How does that fit into the pattern of,
It has been around for eons of time. It is only that which is a denial of a polarity that is exhibited within you through fear, only through fear, and through soul and cell memory that you allow yourself to cling to and to harbor within you of judgment of your present experience. But as you begin to understand the glimmer of divinity within everyone and everything, you begin to go beyond that, to embrace life and joy and not fear.
So it won't be there anymore later on?
That which is homosexuality will come to be known as multisexuality. You will not only be male, female, you will also be God. It will be trinitized.
So it won't be the way we know it at the moment?
Oh, but of course, that is what I spoke.
So it will always be in existence. Is this what you are saying?
Indeed. And you know, when you begin to experience fourth density, that which you call superconsciousness, you will have awareness of the perspective of simultaneity. So that as you are exhibiting in fourth density and of the light, you are also remembering, as you choose to access it, third density, limited man, disharmony, and you indeed may experience the flow and resonance unto them. Allowing them to reflect upon their future, if they would term it that, to know God in that manner. Indeed, my beloved.
Good evening.
Greetings.
I had always imagined that at some stage, instead of having physical interaction sexually, it would just become an energy exchange. Is that really what you're describing?
It will be an energy exchange, and there will be some manner of physicality about it, but much less. And that which you call the creation of life within the womb, it will be experienced. and the petals of womanhood will issue forth new life in the blossom and blush of its joy, of newness and freshness into this plane that you call limited in some aspects, fourth density, superconsciousness. And indeed, as that which is issued forth with joy and not pain, for there will not be pain in fourth density, and the petals reclose to reform the bud. Indeed, that which is the newness of life will not forget. It will not shroud itself in the forever forgetfulness of the veil that is called limited now. And indeed, that which is joy exhibited will be brought forth upon all the earth in the celebration of that event of birth. For all will have attunement to each other's consciousness. It will be very telepathic, really telepathic in that timing, so that indeed all are aware of all things. It is very holographic. Indeed. Thank you, my beloved.
I've always had trouble with the Old Testament. I believe that God is love, wisdom, the whole bit, but the God that was manifested through the old prophets seemed to be vindictive, murderous on occasions, etc., etc. Did the information come from what we believe as God, or was it from other sources?
All entities are called God. That which you would resonate to within your Old Testament is what is called Jehovah, which is altered ego personified, which is what you now call Antichristus, which is divine energy essence that is to be embraced in what you call your future. In that timing, all entities that were empowered were considered God. There is grand explanation already given forth about this and how it came to be. Jehovah was a title, not a name, not a label. All right? Very much like Christus.
There's a lot of talk right now of what will come, and a lot of talk that it is now. What can I do to become more clear of the nowness of now?
Indeed, immerse yourself wholeheartedly into the stream of what excites you the most in every now. And you will not be so frustrated about what is upon your horizon. You see, that which is called patience is a creation, a separation, and avoidance of your now. For when you are so exemplified in enjoyment of each now moment, you do not even create the thought of what will be of your future, and therefore there is no time that you're frustrated about waiting for. So, the answer to your question, my beloved brother, is to merely follow your heart, live your dream, be your fantasy, be the divine creation that you really are, and you will create your circumstances and the birth of earth and the birth of you harmoniously. So be it.
Indeed. Is there a God beyond us that we can relate to, and is there a trinity of God beyond ourselves as well?
That which is microcosm is always within the macrocosm and vice versa. The Trinity is you. Man, woman, God. Male, female, God. And the polarities that are exemplified within you are also exemplified within not only this universe, but within all the multiverses. Now that which you would call God is the all that is. And there is an all that is, within an all that is, within an all that is, forevermore ad infinitum. So there is a God within a God within a God, etc. Now, that which you call seventh dimension is the plane of the first God. And after that, there's an entirely different manner of experience to be adventured into. So, welcome to the world. You are in the nursery school. Indeed, beloved. Oh, but of course.
I want to ask two questions, if I may. One is, what is fear and how do we deal with it as individuals? And the other question is, are Lynn Andrews' books true?
That which you call fear is the non-acknowledgement of your power, your sovereignty, your divinity. That which is the acknowledgement of it is created by allowing yourself to unmask it, to gaze upon it as a friend that is part of you. Take its hand, dance and play with it. State unto yourself when you become afraid and terror clinches your heart, have a breath and state unto it, I am greeting my friend and comrade called fear. How do you do? I love you. I would desire to embrace you, and I would desire to carry you into peace and knowledge and understanding. Allow yourself to then visualize yourself as wings, your heart as wings, and embrace it and allow it to beat with your pulse beat, and allow it indeed its murmurings and mournings of its soul, for it indeed is yearning to become merged with the joyous symphony of your heart. Hear it, hear the tones blending, hear the harmonizing created. And as you do this, you're so immersed in this embracing, you've forgotten to be afraid. And so indeed, this is how you may create alignment of fear for the moment. And that which you call these printed material, the publications, it is indeed a shamanistic journey into that which is a limited perception of the all that is. It is wondrous, it is divine, but it is not the unlimited perception. It is that for those that are desirous to come unto that particular experience as a stepping stone, a springboard into further unlimitedness. So do not judge it, my beloved. Thank you, my beloved. Indeed.
What is the best way for us to remember we are God? Through meditation?
Your life is a meditation. That which you call gazing into the mirror every day of your time, your activity, and have a moment and state unto yourself, I am greetings, beauteous God. And that which you carry forth with you into your daily activity, state unto your brethren, most especially those that you judge, you are the I am. Greetings, beauteous God. And when an entity comes unto you that you would judge and consider your enemy, state unto yourself, there's God again. And then you will begin to be living your understanding. And even more will come unto you. It will be a rush of wisdom. In one instant, you will have the acknowledgement of eons of yearning to understand when you begin to embrace and live this knowing. You see? Thank you, beloved.
We have a question here.
Do you think that we should love the earth first, and then we wouldn't have all this problem that we're talking about here?
Not really, my beloved. Allow yourself to love you and know that the earth is you. Just another version of that which is you. You create the collective consciousness called Terra, Earth, Akasha, whatever you wish to call her. And as you love the divine being of light that you are, all that come unto you, all that you experience, will be issued forth in the reflection of that which you understand as you, which is called love. In other words, everyone whose auric field you touch, you will automatically love, for you love you. And as you touch the auric field of Mother Earth with your unshod foot every morning of your day, and touch the air with your breath as you allow it to be breathed with the breath of life into your lungs, into your experience, you will love it. For her breath is your breath, her pulse is your pulse, and her life is your life. So be it.
Saint Germain, my question is, how is it that we have gone through incarnation and incarnation and incarnation, God knows how long, but how is it that we can't let go, and how can we quicken the pace of learning?
The grandest way to accelerate is to release the desire to accelerate. Now, why is it that you consider you're in such a reflective audience? Because it is of wideness of time for you to understand, to remember what you've forgotten. It is of now, the essence of now, that you're unveiling yourself for what you really are. And indeed, it is not the eons of incarnations that you're remembering, of what you call past or history. It is all of you, even the eons of your future selves, and the eons of your alternate now selves. All of you, in all its multidimensional glory. So bask within the light of this, and you indeed will experience exhilarated joy, for you will know indeed that you are not that which you thought you were. Now, that which you call multidimensionality, as you perceive a déjà vu, you understand of which I speak? Feeling that you've been there before. It is not always of the before. At times, you're remembering that you will be there. At times, it is also remembering that your soulmate was there, or another dimensional aspect of that which is you, in your alternate now, in a parallel earth. That which is your perception of past and the desirous of going forth in past life therapy, psychic archaeology, clan digging. Indeed, it is allowing yourself to understand limited perceptions of what you have been, but you disregard what you will be and what you already are in other dimensions that also are flowing onto this experience. You create every now as a universal whole. Every single now moment is whole in and of itself. And as you create your next now moment, you create it differently, but you also create it whole. And as you would perceive the sequentiality of it, it is an illusion, for you create that effect in that now moment. You recreate it completely. That is how you can recreate what is to occur upon your plane as given forth in prophecy. You can recreate it in this now moment if you so desire, and not cling to what has been given forth. Now, that which you would call your past lives, so many of you do not even consider what are your future lives. You're so gazing across your shoulder. And that which is called a dream state, your slumber time, that also is an experience of reality, in as much as this is an experience of reality. When you're immersed within your slumber, you consider this the dream, which is really closer to the reality. And when you indeed bridge the gaps between all these realities, you will be standing likened unto a crystal cathedral, and you can see through all the rooms and all the activities occurring in all the rooms, which is the different realities or dimensions. And you will be able, indeed, in that timing, to understand the wholeness of your experience. For in one, you're a grand God that is exemplified in power and wonderment and splendid glory. In another, you're impoverished in the gutter, a wino. In another, you're a harlot. In another, you're a virgin. All at the same time. And so you begin to understand, judge not lest you be judged. You begin to understand the essence of all the wisdom of all the ages and all the different dogmas, and begin to thread them with the golden thread of God, the golden thread of now, so that you may embrace them all, for all are truth, all are valid, all are divine. And when you understand them in wholeness, that allows you to transcend any manner of limitation that you do not desire. And do you know the paradox of it is that when you transcend it, you have the capacity then to immerse yourself in all the facets of limitation at all times whenever you wish. You may be in whatever world you desire to be in any timing, and experience it as an adventure for whatever timing you desire to be there. And poof, you're off to another one. But really, it is all simultaneous. Indeed, beloved,
Hello. Is it important or even necessary to have the desire to transcend the earthly cycle, or is that just another thing that we have to let go of?
There is no letting go likened unto this. The letting go is embracing and understanding and releasing into the all that is, the sourceness of you. That which is transcending will only be accomplished when you understand the beauty and exquisite ecstasy of experiencing limitation, when you enjoy it to its fullest capacity and taste its succulence and sweetness within each honeysuckle now. Then you will transcend it. Only then. That is the paradox. Thank you, my beloved.
Saint-Germain? Are those people who have died not long ago closer to our vibration, those of us who are still in our bodies, than those who have died a long time ago?
No. There are many that immediately go forth into a dimension of complete non-physicality, an experience that is total, as you would term it, to be alien to your perception. And in this understanding, they are creating further wisdoms for their experience and expansion. That which you call a long time ago and that which you call recently, when you go forth into another plane of expression that is non-physical, is not that manner of perception. You do not perceive a long time ago and recently. There may be a perception of what you call before and after, but it is not given the credence that it is given here in your time of what you call sequentiality. Do you understand? Indeed, when you do go forth and release this embodiment and create a transformation into another manner of expression, you will begin to understand that that which is time is a no thing. For that which is time is only created so that you're not experiencing everything at once. And when you transcend this dimension, that occurs anyway. Indeed. Indeed.
We've been invited to ask you anything, so I put this to you. I accept you are giving a message of great love and joy and oneness. However, over a number of years, I have read and heard and seen many messages from Saint Germain, as I would put it, specifically saying certain things which I find you are saying quite opposite things to. If I can give some examples, what I have heard is that I heard Saint Germain, as I would call it, say we must see the best but prepare for the worst in terms of coming earth changes, cataclysms, etc. Whereas you seem to say we should not see that.
There is no best and worst. Shall I explain unto you that which you call this particular difference? That which is the difference of your now is desirous and ripe for a more unlimited presentation of that which is knowing. That which was the Piscean era in which this was given forth was ripe for that timing. This is a different understanding. This indeed will be bringing forth, for those that desire to resonate with it, the acknowledgement of each one's power to recreate the drama as they so choose, from tragic to magic, if they wish. Now, that which you would term to be better, best, good, bad, better, worse, should, shouldn't, all of these are judgments. All of these are statements of separation. For indeed, it is no acknowledgement of your power to do as your heart allows you to express. That which is this particular reflection also is a complete capacitation. In that reflection, it was a blending of consciousnesses. So that the one that was bringing it forth was bringing forth also the particular limitations that were rampant within the consciousness at that time. Do you understand? Indeed, my beloved.
The risk of putting you on the spot, why am I hearing those messages yesterday, today, and tomorrow, albeit there is all now, from many masters right now for the Aquarian age, not for the Piscean age?
That which is the Aquarian era is rampant with different vibrations of reflection. Some of red, some of blue, some of orange. And that which you would term to be this one is violet transmuting into gold. It is the embracing of all of them into the utter unlimitedness of all that is. Those that are of red, which at times do bring forth polarities that are called before and after, indeed are resonating to those that would desire to understand that as a stepping stone. Allowing themselves a bit of comfort here, to touch their toe to the water, as it were, rather than jumping and immersing themselves completely within it. And that which is the masters, as they are called, you are all masters. All of you are grand and divine masters now in the multidimensionality of perception. And as you access your mastery and your majesty, you will begin to exemplify it in your life. You will begin to empower yourself so that indeed it will be proof of the pudding, as you call it. That which is termed master is but an equal brother coming forth to reflect through love, compassion, wisdom, and desire to merge that which is the essence of you. There are many that are coming forth in different forms and fashions, in different perspectives, in different manners of resonance. Regardless of what ray it is all wondrous, it is all divine and appropriate for those entities with whom it participates. And indeed, allow yourself to honor all of them. For indeed, they are all there for a grand reason. Is this sufficient, my brother? First of all, I would like to address a different issue and then I will respond to that one. That which is said, Germain, is not that which be I. I am. You are, I am. It is a grander version than that which you call the understanding of the frame of that which you term the resonance of Saint Germain. That's what you call the violet ray. That is not really this reflection. This reflection is the unlimitedness of the all that is, the white transmuting into the golden. That is also you. Now that's what you call this particular one that you address. It is indeed a manner of presentation where there is a connection of consciousness, but her consciousness also blends and presents her own limitations with it, which is grand and appropriate for those entities that come onto it for springboard into knowing of that which they be, and that which is called God. There is no judgment. There is pearl of wisdom within every teaching. There is limitation within some. But if you know beyond the limitation and open the clam to reveal the pearl and embrace the clam and the pearl in love, then indeed all will be honored and judgment will be upon none. All right? Thank you, my beloved. And that which you call hierarchy is created for Piscean era, in the understanding of a limited God, and indeed all as one. There is no such thing as hierarchy.
How do animals fit into this pattern?
That which you call animal is second density, a fragment, a facet of consciousness that is of soul energy, that is termed the all that is. It is a further focus of that which is, of the coagulated understanding, the frequency vibration of consciousness that may communicate with you. Those that are animals, your beloved friends, that are of your fauna, that come unto you and are comrades and companions unto you in your life, they are fragments of your soul energy. It is a different sort of fragment than that which be you, but it is still a fragment. That is explained in the understanding called soulmates. And indeed, there is no such thing really as transmigration. That which is one of your felines all of a sudden becoming a woman. That is grand legend. But there is the feline consciousness blending with the all that is, and a particum of that feline consciousness becoming a grander consciousness called human. You see? That which is consciousness is only electrum thought. And that which is thought is exemplified in all things. Plant, mineral, animal, inanimate object, humanity. And so indeed, you are really, in the unlimited understanding, one with all of it. For you created all of it. It is of you, not from you, of you. This one here has been desirous for speaking for a while.
When people are dead and you dream of them, are you actually having any real contact with them, or is that just an illusion in your mind?
The imagination is the only dimension of existence, my beloved. For you, in your existence of your reality called now, you are existing within this that you call your imagination. Everything that is about you is created of your imagination. Indeed, that which is your experience of slumber time is a resonance of identification in one manner or other. There are at times symbols translated so that you may understand that which is uncommunicable in other manners for your understanding. But it is all resonance, familiarity, experience, integration with other consciousness. Indeed, it is very real. Thank you, my beloved.
Can I ask you, where do you go when you're not speaking to us? And do you have any problems yourself?
That which you call where I go is everywhere and nowhere. That is the polarities exemplified in wholeness. I am every win and no win also. In other words, that which is the dimension that abides the unlimited consciousness that is within this reflection is the essence of all that is. And problem, there is adventure, but no problem. Unless it is desired to be considered a problem in limitation. You understand? What is likened unto the paradox? If God is so grandly powerful, can he create a rock that is not able to be picked up by him? It is a paradox. Indeed, this is possible.
Greetings, St. Germain. I have a question which I don't quite know how to frame. If I'm single, if I remain single, does that mean that I am somehow incomplete?
You are only incomplete if you acknowledge your incompletion. And you will remain single as long as you consider the identification of yourself as single. In other words, as long as you continue to state, I'm single, that is what you're creating by your verbiage and by your thought.
Thank you.
Consider how you speak, and you will recreate your life when you recreate your verbiage. Indeed.
The practice of the physical yoga, the Hatha yoga, does that belong to the Piscean age or to the New Age? In other words,
It
would it
really
be wise to
belongs
practice?
to neither. It is not possessed, you see. You may resonate and identify with it with a certain limited consciousness, or you may identify with it in the unlimited consciousness. The identification of unlimited awareness is to know indeed the relaxation and the attunement and at-one-ment and alignment and indeed honor of physicality that it allows you, but not allow it to be a dogma, a ritual that is habitual. Indeed. Thank you, my beloved.
Saint Germain, I understand that I don't have the life, that the life has me, and that it's not my consciousness, but the consciousness coming through me. But recently, and for the last 3 years, I've been a student of A Course in Miracles. I want to know, where's the author of The Course in Miracles, not Helen Schumann, the narrator to her, and what is happening in the meantime? Is there something else planned?
The narrator that you call Yeshua, this one is of the understanding of that which is of the brotherhood of the light that shall reappear upon this plane when indeed superconsciousness prevails, as shall all the masters that you call masters. And indeed, there is communication with multidimensional amounts of consciousness upon this plane in the preparation to allow empowerment of all, if they choose it. That which you call the Course in Miracles is wondrous, divine. Allow yourself to revel within its revelations. That which is you. And you are not possessed by life. You are life. And that which is consciousness is not through you. It is you. Thank you, my beloved.
Please, I don't understand the concept of soulmate. I appear to be masculine. You come across as masculine. If I tell myself I'm whole, then I have no need of a female counterpart. Is that correct?
You got it. And paradoxically, when you embrace this knowing, your female counterpart comes flowing onto you. Indeed, beloved.
This really follows from the previous question. You do come across as very masculine and assertive. I just wondered, is that the case, that you're not expressing a very strongly feminine part of yourself? Or are you actually
to say
in
that feminine is not power sourceness in essence. Now, I will tell you, my beloved, when there is a balance, there is both the understanding of masculine, feminine, but it is love, unlimited, with power, essence, exuded. That is what an unlimited God is. That is really what androgyny is. That is what you are when you allow it. You see? There's a balance. Thank you, my beloved.
Levels or entities that you were talking about with the gentleman down there, would that include the idea of a soul dying and leaving a body and being replaced by another soul of a more evolved nature?
There is really not the replacement, as you call it. There is the choice of a different frequency vibration to experience a different set of realities. But you see, you are all perceiving of your past in that what you call your previous understanding and teachings through linearity. And I am beginning to reflect onto you an opening of your awareness, allowing yourself to perceive panoramically, cycloramically life. That which is linearity, a death and another life, a death and another life, etc., is not really the ultimate understanding. For that which is death is a no thing. It is a transformation. In other words, it is merely a shift of frequency into another reality. It is likened unto having your reality a property of your consciousness. And you tune it like channels upon your stations in your box. And you have this particular reality tuned in. And you shift and tune into a different reality. It is perceived as death and limitation. But it is merely a different frequency shift. You're tuning into something else in that manner of consciousness. And in the unlimited perspective, all of the stations are occurring all at the same time. You see? One moment.
Me? Saint Germain, some of us are into practicing something called rebirthing, which talks about the manner of your birth affecting the way your life flows. So would you speak a little bit about that?
You are rebirthed every now moment. Each now moment is a virgin that is impregnated with your consciousness to create the birth of whatever reality you desire in that now moment. That which is rebirthing is only perceiving the birth in this life, not the birth in all the other lives that are all at the same time occurring. In each moment, you're being birthed in multidimensional lives, realities, even physical expressions. So, when you consider a rebirthing, and indeed it is divine what you're experiencing and what you're reflecting onto others, but begin to step into the creation of reflection and the understanding within your own being that that which is a rebirthing is an entirely different facet of creation of your now moment, not reliving it, recreating it completely, wholly, as you choose to in that now moment, according to all the lives, not only this one. Right? It is not necessary to burn your circuits on that one either. Indeed.
How do you feel being in a body at this moment? Does it feel kind of strange, and how do you tune into the frequency?
It is different to have this particular reflection in this sort of embodiment, but it is wondrous and divine, an adventure to be sure. But indeed it is expressed in my understanding as joy always, a delight. It was grandly different, I will tell you that, when there was life within this embodiment. And I also was capacitated within it. Indeed.
Oh. Hello, St. Germain. I wonder if you better speak about the Golden Age and your understanding of it.
I do not speak about my understanding of anything. I'm reflecting your understanding, remember? That which is the Golden Age is superconsciousness, and that which is 4th, 5th, 6th, and indeed 7th dimension that is exhibited. And that which is the golden nebula upon the horizon that your astronomers have sighted, discovered as it would be termed, and do not know how to explain, that is indeed what you would term to be sucking everything into it, and it is coming closer and closer. That is the golden era, allowing all that is within this universe to be brought forth within it, in that which is timing of the ripeness within this dimension. Indeed. I will tell you this, my beloveds, there is only one question, and that is, what is? And there is only one answer, and that is, I am. And if you would desire to phrase it in another manner, there is only one question, I am, and only one answer, I am. I will give you a bit of play, a delightful experience, so that you may begin to live what is reflected herein. Whenever anyone asks you, what is your name? State unto them, I am. Whenever anyone asks you, what do you do? State, I am. Whenever anyone asks you, what time is it? State, now. Whenever anyone asks you, when were you born? State, now. That will begin to bring chuckles forth from them. It will stir their awareness. You may respond in a manner that they had intended to have a response after you respond in this fashion, and allow them to laugh with you. But at least you would have stirred their awareness a bit, and your own, and begin to open the horizons, to allow yourself to dance in delight with life. It is not dire at all. It is indeed an expression of divinity in joy, that which is your life. Indeed, beloved.
Saint Germain, I have come to know of a being in India known as Satya Sai Baba. He is regarded as an avatar. Could you explain how the concept of an avatar relates to that of Ascended Master?
First of all of you are avatars, whether you realize it or not. Second of all, my beloved, that which is avatar is 4th, 5th, and 6th density, Ascended Master is 7th and beyond. That which is called avatar is 4th, 5th, and 6th density, and that which is Ascended Master is 7th and beyond. And that which you would term to be Sai Baba is exemplifying a divine demonstration of 4th density, manifestation, coagulation from the electrons of your atmosphere, in multi-location. You too can experience this. This is a demonstration, likened unto Yeshua when he walked upon the plain, demonstrating. He indeed said unto the Sadducees, know you that you are all gods? And even at the Sea of Galilee he stated, grander things than this you may also do. He stated that many times during what you call his ministry. And indeed, he was a divine demonstration. And there are others upon the plain, now in your time. Many are incognito, as you call it. The one that is called Sai Baba is also one of these. And you too are, if you will acknowledge it of yourself. All that is required, my beloveds, is for you to gaze unto the reflection called you, not only through your own embodiment, but through your brothers, and state unto them, greetings, beloved God. I honor you, and I unite in harmony and peace and joy, so be it. And when you do, you will begin to experience a fountain of beauteous fun. You will exhibit play. That which is a dance will be tiptoeing on every thread of each now as it comes unto you, sprightly, elfinly, indeed, exemplifying the child of God, the Christus reborn, the divinity indeed. Only a child shall enter into the kingdom of heaven. This is what it meant. Being childlike in the innocence of non-judgment and the awareness of divinity. All of you may also do grander things than this. I will depart for now. It has been my honor. Indeed, as I bask in your brilliance, I honor your reflections, for you too have enhanced my experience. And I bow in humility and honor of your majesty, in recognition of the God of you, the divine energy of thought projected for your pleasure. Take unto your heart the sweetness of life and savor it. Press the wine of your wisdom. Drink of it within the chalice of your expression, your experience, even the frustrations. The crinkles in your fingers, the stub of your toe, they too are divine. Argumentative nature of your family, of your mate, that too is divine. Aggravation and judgment of what you call your employment, which is the embodiment of the embodiment, that too is divine. Play peekaboo with it. Gaze unto it. Find the divinity. Allow it to play, and play with it. Be a divine comedian. Giggle with your brothers. Tickle them with the truth of their being. And fan them with friskiness. For indeed in friskiness shall you understand freedom. Indeed, beloved brother. Ceremony is dogma. You may indeed embrace, but not in ceremony, for that is dogma. You may do it anyway, but I would desire not to emphasize dogma, for we are now releasing dogma and understanding freedom to do in each moment spontaneously what your heart allows you to know. Indeed, join hands if you are so inclined. Embrace one another if you are so inclined. That which is a hug, you call it a cuddle. A roundabout way of expressing affection. So indeed, in this departing, I issue forth all the love and honor of my being unto you. And I desire you to understand your beauty and brilliance. Thank you for your splendor, your majesty. Go forth and glimmer and glow. Glow with the flow, eh? And be the lighthouse. Farewell. And applause is for you. I am your mirror, remember? That is an ancient Sanskrit word for that which you call the God I am of my being. Issues forth a salutation and honor for the God I am of your being forevermore. So be it. Very well, and namaste. raise it, you feel the sensation of like hot lava raising up here, like a straw. And then when it gets up here, it's like not lava anymore. It's like my whole body is on fire. And then by the time I get into the, whatever it is, some people would call it a tunnel, I guess. By the time I get into that, I don't have any sensation at all. I don't have that anymore. That leaves as soon as I get into the tunnel. Yeah.
I hope this doesn't sound rude, but one of the last things Saint Germain said to a gentleman up the back who wanted to have some form of ceremony was, no, don't have ceremony, but do what your heart and your mind want you to do, for sure. Do you see that sitting and meditating is some form of ceremony and going into a space that you're going to? And secondly, do you feel like you've gone deeper in, further out when this happens?
Okay, the ceremony thing. Well, shoot. He did this whole tape on meditation. It was the funniest thing you ever heard. But he said that as long as you don't let meditation like get to be a real stick in the mud, then it's okay. And in other words, but there's no other way to bring him unless I do that I know of anyway. So I mean, it's like we go through this thing of putting our clothes on, but I don't know that I want to go out without it for a change, you know? It's just kind of one of those things that I guess eventually, when it's not any longer necessary for him to come through like this, we won't need to do that or something. But for the now, that's what I'm doing. And where do I feel like I'm going deeper in? No. Further out, that'd be more like it. Actually, I feel like I'm falling backwards, and he keeps saying you go forwards all the time, and I feel like I'm going backwards. That's weird, but that's, yeah. I hope I answered your question. Okay.
Have you noticed any changes in your body since this has been happening, like in your purification, because it's been spending time in the body?
Well, when my baby was born, it was Nido Mosquito. She was like 2 hours or 3 hours in labor, and 8 pounds 9 ounces, which was my biggest baby. She was a nice little plump one, and she was very pink, very healthy. I feel like that had something to do with the fact that he was in my body, because all my other babies were below 6 pounds. And my own thing, if I have a headache or something, I can, let him come in and he'll align the body. And after he leaves, at first anyway, I don't have the headache. And so that's kind of helpful. As far as purification, I don't know how to answer that. No more than, see, he doesn't particularly want me to be any different than anybody else. I have to go through my stuff just like anybody else. And so I wouldn't say that it purifies me any more than anybody else's meditations.
You wouldn't mind speaking up?
I eat a lot of meat. It's important that I eat meat because it grounds me. Otherwise, I'd be like Major League Space Cadet all the time. I would, somebody would talk to me and I wouldn't hear a word they'd say, and I just kind of float through life because I'm so out there all the time that I don't have a real connection, to get grounded. And so I find that eating meat helps me ground.
I just wanted to ask if you feel any sensation of spinning or spiralling while you're concentrating on the Kundalini fire, and between then and maybe as you go heading towards the light, as you call it.
What was the first part of the question? I'm sorry.
Do you feel any sort of spinning or spiralling sensation?
Spinning. I feel movement. Probably, but not anything I can really put my finger on. I just know it's like being funneled into it.
So you're actually going down a tunnel towards the light?
Something is around me. I never do see what it is, but I feel it. I
feel its presence out there somewhere.
People who astral project maintain that they go down a tunnel towards a light.
Yeah, some people have mentioned that it's probably a tunnel, but I can't say from my own personal experience that I know that it's a tunnel.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Well, let's just say we've accelerated our understanding. You want to answer that one?
Yeah, we get grand opportunities to experience these lessons. There's a vortex, I guess, because of bringing Germain forward, and we get kind of first-hand chance at embodying these wisdoms.
It's like emphasized, I guess you put it. Everybody has their own little thing going on, but it's like when you have a crystal around or something, it kind of emphasizes things. Well, this is the way it is, you know, and so we definitely have like a roller coaster situation where we have our highs and lows, just like everybody else. I hope that answered the question.
I remember one day I was out of alignment most of the day, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. You know, I would turn on the music that I like. There's different things I would do to get myself back into alignment, and nothing was working. And I finally asked Azena to bring forth Germain, and immediately I asked him what was going on, why I kept getting out of alignment, and there was some other energy in the house that was out of alignment. And what was happening is I was wearing a crystal that day, and I would get out of alignment, and it would just start magnifying. And I would think about getting back into alignment, but the crystal was reflecting that same energy that was going around the house. And it was just one big whirlwind kind of a thing. And he said, well, before we begin, you might want to remove what you're wearing. We have grand opportunities at our house to embody this wisdom, let me tell you. We're kind of chuckling here between us because we've had some really high highs and some really interesting other experiences. I haven't accepted all of my lessons as willingly as I suppose I might have.
Me too. There's somebody over here. I don't get to talk to him unless he asks questions for me. Or somebody else, but generally he's the one that asks the questions for me. That's kind of like the irony of it, is everybody else can talk to him but me.
He said that there's an agreement at soul level that she'll never be able to see him or talk to him. That if that were to happen, it's very likely that her consciousness would then start blending with his. That as long as she doesn't have contact with him, it's more likely the information will remain pure or unfiltered.
Can I ask a question? We talked about your diet and maintaining your vibrations and things like that. Do you get any other perks, like how to bring up your children, any problems with health, or kids with problems like teething or anything like that?
You know what's so cool is a couple times we had the opportunity when Ariel, our little baby, was crying, and he was like bouncing their bottom and all that, not knowing what to do, and I didn't know what to do, so we talked to St. Germain and said, what's their problem? And he would tell us, you know, and so we'd fix it, you know, real quick. And one time he couldn't find the bottle, and so he asked St. Germain where the bottle was, and St. Germain said, it's so-and-so place. But he doesn't do that all the time. He'll just do it occasionally, because he didn't want us to become dependent on him or anything like that. But, I mean, he's just like a friend. Occasionally he'll help us like that. As far as raising kids, how would you say that?
Well, we're learning a lot from our kids. Goodness gracious. I remember Azena had, I guess what's called false labor. And we went to the hospital. And we had our, at the time, 5-year-old with us. And Azena's laying on this bed that, you know, folds up every which way, and all this electronic gizmos all attached to it, and it had the microphone attached to the baby. and the 5-year-old crawled under the bed. Okay, and I allowed myself to get a bit upset when after about the third time of saying, come on out, he didn't do it. And I got quite upset because he started tugging on all the electronic wires under the bed, and there was
Pushing the buttons on the machines in the hospital.
it was really getting me upset. Anyway, so I raised my voice, and I quite literally was getting upset and get out from under there and whatnot. And as I did that, the heartbeat of the yet unborn baby started beating faster and faster and faster.
It was like, it
because
started
I got angry.
And as he started getting upset, it was going and you know, they had the monitor on me and the microphone or the speaker where you could hear the heartbeat. So as he was getting upset, the heartbeat of the baby started, you know, accelerating.
And after just a few moments of this, the nurse caught on to what was going on and that they needed to get the 5-year-old out of there. And so she came in and just went under there and grabbed him and, come on, kid. And I guess because it was someone else, he responded right away. And right outside the door, I let loose with these, you know, kind of a, and as I did that, the heartbeat of the yet unborn baby slowed down as I calmed down. And Germain told me later on that the child was unborn and was already teaching, and that many of the children coming forth now are grand teachers, that they're that's what they're coming forth now, is to teach us. I know that, like the 5-year-old, I have like two families. I've got another family, my kids. I've got a son who's in the Navy and another daughter living at home who's going to start a family soon, I suspect. I raised them very much differently than I'm raising the kids now. When I was small, when I raised the kids, there was a lot of no's and don'ts and limitations that I was raised with. And I'm understanding that today's kids really don't deal real well with those limitations, the no's and don'ts, that the way to raise them is giving them choices and alternatives, rather than saying, don't do that.
Can I tell a little story? Yeah. Just a little quickie one. We went to Mount Shasta, and we left at 1 o'clock in the morning, and it's like a 10-hour drive, and our event there was 2 o'clock in the afternoon that same day. So, and the kids were all piled in the back, and the suitcases were, you couldn't even see out of the car, and the sound equipment and everything. And I had been up for like 24 hours solid, and I was exhausted, and I had to help drive and do the event the next day and everything. And so it was like, oh, Jiminy Christmas. And so the kids were in the back, and they were sleeping for a while. And when we got there, they were off in their room, and we got a babysitter to come take care of them while we got ready for the event. And then after the event, we had to go out and talk to some people that were local there. And so I didn't get back into the hotel room until like 11 or 12 o'clock at night. And my little 5-year-old was laying on the bed, and I snuck up to him, and I snuggled up to him, because I was feeling like Major League Mother guilty, you know. And so I said, Mommy has missed you so much today, and I just wanted to let you know that I didn't forget you, and I love you very much, and I really miss you. And he turned over at me and looked me square in the eyes, and he said, Mommy, you are me. Wasn't that sweet? I mean, it just melted my little heart. I couldn't believe that he, you know, would come up with something like that. But we're learning that the kids are really our teachers, and it's really wonderful.
I really don't know. I don't know if I'm going to or not yet. I think ideally we'd like to have someone assist us that, you know, can be tutor and nanny and all that together. But I'm not sure what we're going to do about schooling yet.
We have a couple years to think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Nito, that's cute. You go ahead and tell him how the kids relate to him.
I can tell you how this kid relates to him. I drink wine with him every now and then, and I really enjoy it, and so does he.
And I don't care for wine. I don't drink any kind of alcoholic anything, so I would be on my little keister if I, you know. But anyway, when he drinks it, he transmutes it before he leaves the body, so I don't even have it on my breath anymore.
Usually. There's a couple times that he didn't. And
it's only because you didn't tell him not to tell me.
4th of July 2 years ago, we had 4 glasses of wine, and he thought that was appropriate for that day, and he didn't transmute the wine, and when she came back, we were using the sofa of our home, and when she came back, she just slid right onto the floor. Oh, I still laugh every time I think of it. Usually he transmutes the wine, though. He'll have a couple of glasses and transmute because he knows that she doesn't care for wine. But that's one way that he shares with me on a, one-on-one. With the kids, he's real special. Both the 5-year-old, who's now 6, and then the baby, they understand the difference in the energy right away. The 5-year-old will wake up in the middle of the night. If she brings forth Germain at 3 in the morning, the 5-year-old will wake up out of a sleep and come into the room, knowing that Azena's gone, and he'll just lay down next to me while I talk to Germain, usually, and he'll just fall asleep. But he'll get right up out of sleep.
And he'll sit down we have like 40, 50 people at the house, just gather them over, just for kind of a real impromptu sort of a meeting. And he'll sit down in the middle of the living room for him and go, "Bye, Mom. See you later." Just like it's no big deal. And then he'll talk to me in the kitchen, "Can I talk to Saint Germain, Mom?" And it's like, "Well, why? What do you want to ask?" "I want to talk to Saint Germain. I don't tell you." And so he definitely understands the difference, and he responds to Saint Germain differently than he responds to him, I understand, and to me. And it's kind of neat because he'll tell me what Saint Germain and he have been doing in other dimensions. He'll just come tell me all these wonderful things, and he'll go, "You know what?" And it's just neat. It's just wonderful. So anyway, there's somebody over here.
Yes.
You mean when Saint Germain's in my body and I'm not here anymore?
Well,
Yeah, you can answer that.
Because one of the things I met Saint Germain in America, and one of the things I had a great desire to do was to give him a cuddle, right? So about, I think it was in Perth. Perth? Yeah. I said, "Saint Germain, I'd like a cuddle," and he gives the best cuddle the world has ever seen. I'm not kidding. They are sensational. Strongly recommended therapy for anybody. Could have been a real long queue.
So I think we better wrap it. Unless anybody has, yeah, go ahead. Did you ever ask him that?
I never really asked him that. To my knowledge, the energy of the child remained.
He offered to come in during labor and take over for me, and I almost took him up on it. But he said that he would, but, I really didn't want to miss out on the birth of my own child. Did he?
I have to go by memory. The energy can enter the child at the moment of conception, or as much as, I think it's like a year and a half, occasionally longer. But after the child is born. After the child is born. Anytime from conception to the norm is a year and a half after birth. There can be occasions where it's longer than that. Also, what will happen is a fragment of the energy can enter the body and not the totality of it. The totality is still learning lessons wherever.
I think that's in children that only can be here a short time, like a day or so, and then they leave or something.
Yeah, but not necessarily either, though.
Not necessarily?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, I'm sorry. Yeah, he's addressed audiences, when they ask about that before, and from what I understand, it's always, mutual choice. So, it hasn't been recently that I know of that he's addressed that, but he has talked about it, and he said that, he always addresses it without judgment. So So he's always saying that, like, the baby wouldn't be in that position if that wasn't one of the options that everybody involved could choose, I guess, or something. Well, we thank you for coming, and it's been our delight to share. And do you have anything to say?
Yeah, bear with me for a couple of seconds. There's a few things. First thing is, if anybody wants an audio tape of tonight, they're available. We've got some envelopes set up outside. Just leave your name and address on the envelope. That means that if it doesn't arrive, well, it's between you and the PMG and your handwriting. The tapes, there was 2 tapes, but it looks like we can edit it down to 1. So it'll be $10 for the tape for the night. The other thing is we've got a 3-day live-in retreat in Victoria, 2nd, 3rd, 4th of June with St Germain. There's 50 seats, and in each place we've been to so far, they've been pretty keen, people have been pretty keen to do it. So if you want to do that, you can talk to me or one of the girls here. And Germain tells me that the subject matter for Saturday is affairs of the heart. So the Saturday events starts at 1, goes till somewhere between 10, midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. So if you want to do that, let know who somebody outside. And if you think the $135 for the day is too much money, that's okay. Nobody doesn't do it because of the money. So if you want to do the weekend, see me or one of the people around. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, my experience of the day events, he describes these as entertaining your alter ego. The nights like tonight, right? On the day events, it's more of a day for him to actually communicate something that's going to be meaningful for your movement, if you like. And the context of the Saturday is affairs of the heart. Now, I don't think he's talking about romance, by the way. So, anyway.
I might mention something that I don't know if everybody here knows, and that's that he's called Australia the heart seal of the world. So it could be affairs of Australia. I don't have any idea what it's going to be about.
He really doesn't tell us. All we really know when we go to have an event is the subject matter, and that's it. We don't know how long it's going to last. The other day when we had one last week, he had me leading the group singing, and I never do that. Never. So we don't know what to expect at all. We advised people that it could go on until midnight just so that they have babysitters lined up. We've had some events where he didn't allow us to go and have dinner, and we just worked through, not worked, but he had the event through until 8:30 or so, and that was it for the evening. Most of the time he'll call like an hour and a half dinner break, come back, and go on until 9, 10, 11. We had one that went on until 2 o'clock in the morning. We really don't know. It depends on the participants at the event.
And there's really no way to know what's going to happen. I mean, at one of them, I was sitting in a seat, and everybody was in a circle, and I ended up, when I came back, I was on the floor, and everybody else was too. I mean, they were some sort of an exercise or something. I didn't know what it was. But anyway, I was sitting in the middle of all these people that were sitting there looking at me like that, And so, and I still don't even know what they did that day. But it's experiential more than just talking, It's a different sort of a thing. Thank you. Okay. Thank you.
Well, thank you for joining us.